So this is Doc, and I wanted to, make a comment here early this morning to talk to Christian black youth and their parents, and how parents can help, as well as leaders within the church who are working in youth and young adult ministry. When you're running into someone who considers themselves as a black atheist or black agnostic, they are sinners that don't consider themselves sinners, because in order to consider themselves sinners, then that would mean that they'd have to know that God exists, even though the scripture says they know God exists in Romans 1:18-32. The issue is that by acknowledging they're a sinner, then that would mean they have to acknowledge the existence of a God. Now, black atheism is lazy doubting, and I'm going to explain this over this week. So the original definition of an atheist used to be, back in the day, that God does not exist, period. And most atheists still believe this. However, the problem came when they realized that by making that claim, they have to, the burden of proof rests upon them. You get lazy when you decide, I don't want to present burden of proof. I want somebody else to present the opposite of that so that I can challenge it. So basically what they changed the definition, which was, atheism is the lack of evidence that God exists. So in other words, I don't have to prove anything by showing a lack of evidence. Now you have to present enough evidence to convince me. Here's the problem. Atheism is not a head issue, not just a head issue. It's a heart and head issue, and it needs to stand in order. The problem is that most atheists do not want to present that burden of proof that God does not exist, because they're going to run into multiple challenges. And even when they try to say, well, what about all these other gods? There's multiple books that are out there that will help to explain that, yes, these other gods do exist. However, the problem, they are not gods as unto the true living God and the Son of God, the King of Kings, Lord of Lords. So again, as they get deeper into that hole, they run into multiple problems, which eventually puts them in a place where they're right back at that same problem of, I have to present that burden of proof that God does not exist. So atheism and black atheism, and people ask me, why do you keep dealing with just black folks? Because if you don't deal with your house, if you don't deal with your community, then why is it that you need to keep going out there? Yes, there's multiple problems in the world, but let's deal with our community. And black atheism and all these other black mystery religions are going to kill our communities. They've been doing it for years, but yet God's kingdom still stands. So what I challenge and what I tell Christian black families, parents, youth, leaders within the church, when you run into a black atheist, when you run into black agnostics, and they say it's the lack of evidence, ask them the question, how much evidence for you as an individual would show you that God exists, and would you still serve him if the evidence is presented? Most of the time they're going to say no. It's a hard issue. I'm out.